Hello, for gaming community. We're back again for our Beyblade community as a whole. We're back again. This is our fourth episode of the podcast. Another special guest today. I'm gonna call him Kaden because I'm I don't want to keep messing up his name. I apologize. I think you're the top ranked blader in Florida, right? I don't want to
I
mess that
am,
up.
yes.
Top ranked blader in Florida. Good friend of mine. Really good friend of his dad. Thank you for coming on the show today and welcome. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, that's fine. All right, so I'm CSC Raymond or Caden, and I guess I'm a blader from Florida. I'm ranked number 1 in Florida and 11 on the WBO worldwide.
Sweet, sweet, nice. And we got Crisis. Crisis, you still with us, right?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, my man, Mike. We'll go ahead and just hop right into the interview. With my infamous question. So how did you get into Beyblade?
All right, so I kind of got myself into Beyblade. I was in 5th grade, and when you're younger, you kind of just like you go through hobbies really quickly.
Hmm.
So I think one day we were like into Yu-Gi-Oh, although we never played the game right. We just kind of used the damage
Yeah.
against each other. But one day I bought a Beyblade and I brought it to class, and then I told my friend to get a Beyblade, and then eventually the whole class kind of we kind of just played together, not
Hmm.
like uh officially or anything, but it was kind of just like a fun thing we did.
Yeah.
Um, and from there, I remember school ended, and there was nothing left to do because we didn't see each other anymore. So my dad started to play with me, and we had multiple Beyblades at this point, so we'd mix the parts. Um, and then SSJR, I think that's what I'll call him. You know SSJR, right?
Yeah. He designed the not the circle logo for gaming, but the one like I guess the cooler one, the graffiti one. He
Yeah,
designed that for us. That's how I got to know him.
oh,
Yep.
that's awesome. Yeah, so I think one day my dad saw his Instagram or something like that, and it was an anime day like panel for Beyblade. So he
Hmm.
ran a little panel in a little convention, and I think there were like, I don't know, I'd say 10 people to show up to the panel, and he just taught everyone about Beyblade, and from there we kind of became friends with Drew or
Yeah.
SSJR,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's kind of how I got into it.
That's pretty sweet. That's pretty dope. I actually like I talk to your dad almost like every day. Like we become um pretty
Pretty
good
good friends.
friends. He had mentioned that story to me, and so I think I had known a little bit about that like in the beginning. So what was it at that point where that you started with Takara Tomy, or y'all were already messing with Takara Tomy?
So, I mean, in like the school days, it was more Hasbro because I mean we didn't really understand it.
Hmm.
Um, when I went to the panel though, I think the only Beyblade I really like loved to use was Judgment Joker
Yeah,
because that
yeah.
gave you a chance against anything, and it was just such a cool like gimmick. So I just used that stock.
Okay. Okay. How old are you now?
I'm 14.
14 now.
Yeah,
What grade? I'm
I
trying to
was in
just do the
fifth
math.
grade. Oh, there we go. I was in 5th grade. Um, I think I was like, I don't know, maybe 12. I'm in
Hmm.
8th grade now though.
Oh, okay, okay, cool. I wanted to. Well, I was about to ask another question, but I'd be stealing it from I'll be stealing it from Mike. Mike, did you want to? How
Yeah,
you want to do this? You want to go back and forth, or it
yeah,
was pretty much your first question, Mike, and I didn't want to steal it from you.
yeah, that's fine. So, I mean, I was just gonna ask you, like, what era of Beyblade did you start in, and when you started playing, did you know you were gonna play competitively?
Okay, so when I s- when I what's the question again?
Or okay, so what era did you start playing Beyblade
Okay.
competitively, and did you know you were gonna play competitively?
So I started I know Hasbro is always like a season behind. So I started in God of Hasbro,
Okay.
or Evolution, and then I guess Chozi for Takara Tomy. I never really knew when I was gonna actually like do tournaments and go competitively. It kind of just happened. Like I was at I don't know which one it was, but it was one of JoJo's tournaments. I don't know if you guys know him. Do you?
I met
No.
him at Summer Games. I didn't
Mm,
know who he was
yeah.
until even when they introduced me, I still didn't know who he was. But um I got a cool story about that, but I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah, so he ran tons of tournaments back when I started, and from them it kind of just branched off into more organizers hosting tournaments, and then kind of just became a whole competitive Florida thing.
Cool. So y'all pretty much founded the competitive, or at least on the WBO side, for the competitive style of Beyblade in your area. You were part
Yeah,
area. You were part of that. That's pretty
yeah,
dope.
yeah,
I what I was gonna say with Joyos, and like I said, like I talked to your dad about this because there was I actually showed Mike this too. I don't know if you remember Mike, but when I first got involved in the WBO, there was a because people used to, they would have tournaments and they would also do like feedback. The only person I
yeah,
see really do feedback now, and this is outside of like the winning combinations. They were used to do like tournament reports. The only person I see really doing now is the Cscrap. But
mm,
there was one when I first found out about the WBO, and I looked at this tournament and it happened to be in Florida, and I liked it because it actually had pictures and it was very detailed,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
didn't know anything about anybody at the time. So it was all new. I was just looking to see the combos. Really, I was looking because I was a dad and I wanted to
yeah.
see if there was other adults playing this game.
Oh yeah,
And there were. So that really intrigued me. And then it turned out that it was Joyo's event. I don't know if it was his first or his second one. Maybe as I explained it, you might be able to tell me better. But it was I know that it ended up going, I think the top four, I can't remember any of their names, or I didn't remember any at the time, but I just remember the combos that he used. And it had one guy, he was an older guy, probably around my age, maybe a little bit younger. And he had like Hell Salamander. This is back when GT was out because Joyos, I think he had Lord Spriggan,
yeah, yeah.
and he ended up winning that tournament. And then they had pictures and he did great details. And this was after well, this was before I met anyone. And then I recently went back to look um
But like
at
a
this.
warehouse
Yeah.
um place. And that was also an awesome tournament. I think I got like fifth in that because knockouts were like two.
Hmm.
And I remember I was facing someone older, and I had the same Lord combo. I think it was left spin Lord, zero cross atomic,
Hmm.
and it wouldn't lose. I guess I got lucky against who I was like playing because I didn't have an EBR.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'd face younger kids, and it beat it because it was Takara Tomy.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I got to the top eight, since it was like my first real tournament, I lost once with it, and then I stressed out, and then I went to like a Joker combo on
Hmm.
Octa, and yeah, from there it did not go so well.
Those things happen sometimes, man. But
Oh
I
yeah,
remember that reading that tournament report had it had an impact on me for Beyblade. Mike, do you remember when I sent you that link?
I don't. I don't remember,
Man,
but that was a while ago.
yeah, it was a while ago. I should have been better prepared. I should have brought it up. I'm gonna put the link to that tournament report at the bottom, so if you want to check it out, you can see exactly what I was talking about. Because I know it was a big deal, and I was like, it was such a big deal that I was about to drive down to Florida because I wasn't an organizer at the time, and I was
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
look for a tournament for my kids. I was looking for myself too, but that was something that I really wanted to do and to get into. And that was like the biggest one at the time, so it was pretty dope, pretty dope. Did let me let me go ahead, I guess, with my second one. Um, Speaking about that and like the impact that that tournament had on me, I want to put a question towards you. Like, what has Beyblade, since you've been playing, like, what has it done for you or helped you with in terms of like life or enjoyment? You're part of the younger scene. Uh, well, most players are part of the younger scene. Just Crisis and Crusher and I are older and stuff like that. But
yeah, yeah.
um, Beyblade has done. It has helped me in life. With my kids and the bond and relationship. What has it done for you? Like either even in your area or your personal life or anything like that?
So I mean, I play soccer outside of Beyblade, but like it was honestly just something to do. Like you can't always play a sport. So
Hmm.
like whenever I had time, I'd play Beyblade, and when the competitive scene kind of came around, it was like I have something to look forward to almost.
Yeah.
So, like if there's a tournament in 2 weeks, I test for that tournament. Um, so it really just gave me something to look forward to. I mean, honestly, I've made more of a connection with my dad. We test all the time.
Yeah.
So it really has helped, to be honest.
Yeah. Does your dad? He doesn't compete anymore, right? Did he ever compete?
He competes when he has to, like in smaller tournaments. If we don't have enough, he'll compete or to make it even.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's it though. He feels
Yeah.
bad when he wins against younger kids. So
Oh, he does. Oh,
yeah, I have
yeah.
to make him a Hasbro deck just in case. Yeah,
He's there to
But
take the L whenever he
yeah,
plays.
yeah,
yeah. That's good of him though. That's a good character.
yeah.
It sounds like your dad. And yeah, I think the same thing happened with it definitely happened with me and my kids. They got me into Beyblade, and it's a hobby that we can share because,
Mm.
like you were mentioning, Yu-Gi-Oh, and I mean
Mhm.
that's Mike's area. I mean, I played too, but nowhere near as hardcore as
Yu-Gi-Oh
Mike did.
triggers me.
Yeah, I don't even know how to play it. That's
Yeah,
confusing.
Be happy you don't. It's
Yeah,
complicated.
yeah. It's
Like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh is actually complicated because there's like so many rules within like the damage step alone. It's
yeah.
yeah,
There's like a paragraph under every card.
yeah, yeah. I um I played in middle school, but I didn't play like super I didn't play like Mike played.
Mm.
I did play like by the rules. When I say I didn't play like Mike played, like I played competitively, but I didn't play as hardcore as Mike did. Like I never played for regionals or anything like that.
Yeah,
I didn't even know about that stuff. But I did play, but it's fun. But my direction right now is in Beyblade. It's like wanting to build competitive Beyblading because I remember the joy and excitement it brought me when I was younger. So I definitely want to share that with future generations and the bonds that I have or the bond
yeah,
that I
yeah.
have um, with my kid or with my kids. And Mike, we can go back and forth like with our questions. I don't think it's either one of us will contradict each other.
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, you can go ahead if you're ready.
All right, so the next question I had was back at the summer games, that last match against Archipel, there was like a lot of like controversy with that last point. Like as you were waiting for them to make a decision, what was going through your head about that final result when they're
Yeah,
all trying to
so
figure it out?
yeah, that last point, that was like a lot for I think everyone because I don't think you guys were there, but or were you there?
I
James
was
was,
there.
I wasn't.
Mike wasn't. Did you want to, Kaden? Do you want to? You can speak on summer games just for anybody that doesn't know or to like bring them up to speed.
Yeah.
Like what went on that day, and then just like lead up to like what that point and what Mike is talking about for anybody that doesn't know.
Yeah, so that was like a really big tournament for everyone. The production was like, in a hotel. So a lot of people went. It went to the top 8. I didn't do so well. I mean, I made top 8, but not nowhere in the top 3. I think the Supreme one got third or something like that. Um, and then Paul got second, Union got third. That the last point I remember, everyone thought Paul won it, and they shot like the confetti, and everyone celebrated. And then they reviewed it, and they called. I forgot who they called. It might have been Shindog or Yami or I don't know who they called, but
They call Kai
um
or Key.
oh yeah, it might have been
Yeah,
him. Yeah, yeah. Um but the judge was Super Dave. Do you guys know him?
yeah.
I know of
I met
him.
him that day.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
But he was judging because he was like our head judge at that tournament. And then I don't know, I was kind of disappointed that the judge never got to make his call, if that
yeah,
makes sense. Because they
yeah,
kind of put it into someone else's hands. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so turns out they gave the point to Union instead of Paul winning the whole thing. Um, and then I guess the end came and Union won. Personally, I mean, I didn't really know who won. I thought Paul won, and then the replay kind of brought it closer. But in my opinion, I feel like they should have just called it a tie if it's that close. You know, they kind of switched the role on that, but that was the Summer Games, I guess. So
Yeah. I know that wasn't a question for me, but I was there and I remember how it felt and how it went down. My
yeah,
only issue with it, like whether or not the ruling was for Paul or the ruling was for Union, I only felt a way like disturbed about it, I guess you could say.
yeah,
The same reason why you just said. Super Dave was judging. He is the judge. It
exactly.
should have been no outside influence. And
Well,
people were watching it on YouTube. Um
Mm,
I know Kay or Kai, I don't know how to say his name, but I know he watched it. TSO was also there.
yeah,
They had some of the people that were recording. They were putting some of their input in, and I know Conch, like he ran it, and Super Dave. I don't know if this is true or not. I think Shindog had mentioned it. He said that he doesn't want to judge anymore, which I understand, man. That was one of the toughest judgment calls he had to make.
oh yeah,
And it was stressful. And it goes back to like, and Mike, you can jump in anytime, but it goes back like when you record a video in slow mo the first time you watch it, or when you watch it in real time, it's like, okay, you have a decision and you know what you make. When you watch it in slow mo, it's like,
changed
oh, I
everything.
see. It
you
changes so much.
you start
And some,
questioning yourself and doubting your initial decision.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
Especially if you watch it like six, seven, 10 times, you're like, oh my goodness. And then you have other input from other people, like, oh, you see this and that. Because in slow
Yep.
mo, nothing ever stops.
No.
It's in slow mo, you
Yeah.
Right.
know. Um, so I knew it was a tough call, and but my only issue was like it should have been Super Dave's call because Super Dave made a call. He made a call off gate, and
Yeah.
then they started reviewing it because Union wanted to review which he has full title to, and then they kept looking at it, and then Kai or Key he gave his opinion, and then when that opinion was made, the decision was made, and but it's all good. It was all good. The most important part was everybody enjoyed themselves,
Yeah.
and Paul was like super duper great sport about it.
Man, he's a
Like
great sport. Yeah.
yeah, and that's what that's what I remember of it. And it was I don't know. I kind of jumped in there. My bad, Mike. But
No, you're
yeah,
fine.
I do remember that.
Like,
And
I mean, it's nice to know what other people think because the only other person I know that I physically talked to here and there that went was Sniper. So
Yeah.
like, that's why I'm unsure. Like, I was just curious what the other people think about that whole thing because I know I was watching it from YouTube, and just from the quick view of the YouTube, it looked like Arca won to me. But then all
yeah,
of a sudden, you have people going, wait, hold on, you got to look at this and look at that. And then I see them pulling it up on the computer and they're doing it like frame by frame. And it's like,
Yeah.
boy,
yeah,
what's going on here? Like,
yeah.
spinning tops, come on.
Yeah. It got really hectic. There was some things that was weird, like the shooting of the confetti. That probably
Yeah. That
should
one
have
was bad.
waited.
That
That
should
should
have waited.
that
But
should have
like,
waited.
but
Yeah.
like the worst thing of all is after I watched that event, that was when I started using slow mo on my phone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because then like I'm like, well, if there's so many different factors, like even in same spin matchup, there's so many different factors and stuff you got to look at. It's like I don't want to miss one and make a wrong call, so I start using slow mo, and it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
at this now that I'm this far into it and you've got all this LAD going on, part of me is like, should I be using my phone anymore? Or should I just go with my first call and just call it a day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you get the players that you're playing against because we have a lot of competitive players up here in Maryland, and you get ones that are just like no, I won, and you're like, but you're not the judge.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But then they're like, well, I'm gonna contest this, and then you've got to get another judge involved, or you got to get the organizer involved. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter either way. Either way, you then get multiple people looking at it, trying to figure out the answer at that point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
But I think within even in then, it doesn't the rules necessarily don't the rules state regardless of whatever does the is it the head judge or the judge of the match that has the overall say?
I think it's the judge of the match.
I think I'm really unsure. Let me check the judges guide. I'll read that real quick. If you want to move on to your next question, I'll skim it real quick and see if I can find it.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, because it's like that was and I think about it too. Like even sometimes I think like, man, should we be recording or should we not be recording? But
Yep.
LAD is so heavy right now that it's
Oh yeah.
like we kind of have to record to see it because if it does go to those instances, and even I make mistakes. Like I'll play with my son, and I feel like I win, or even when I'm in competition, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I won, because I'm
Mhm.
focusing on my Beyblade more so.
Exactly.
And I'll see when my Beyblade stops, but I'm not really paying attention to my opponents. And then I'll look at the replay and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I definitely did lose. So I see those factors of when like the slow mo or even not even slow mo, like just video recording comes into play. But then there's times like it was in at summer games where it's like a little bit too much and then it's a little bit too stressful because you're watching that replay over and over again and you don't want to make the wrong call.
Yeah,
Sometimes I
yeah.
feel like it'll just be easier for the judge to just be like to just call it how they call it. But then it's a matter of fairness. But sometimes I guess it just takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, exactly. It
Yeah,
So
does.
so here's what it says. It says if you disagree with a judge's decision, you're entitled to dispute the decision, but must accept the judge's final call. If you still disagree, document the incident to the best of your ability using the tournament incident report form and email any photo or video evidence to, and it gives an email address. We take all incident reports seriously. If the dispute is related to a particular match result, it must be submitted within 7 days of the tournament in question. If the evidence submitted is found to prove a particular result should have been reversed, the match will be voided entirely. Match winners may only be reversed if it is proven that a judge, what word is this? I'm actually bad at this. Concluded. I think it's supposed to be concluded. It's colluded.
uh,
Colluded with someone to fix a particular result.
Right.
uh that's
So
really
like,
deep.
right. So like,
Yeah, I know.
it's really complicated too, though, because then you got to go through all this stuff, and if someone wants to be, uh, what word can I use? Like, in I don't I don't want to say it in a way that I can say it, but if someone wants to be that guy,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
if
yeah,
someone wants to be that guy and take it to this far, then that's ruining someone's BR and stuff like
yeah,
that. And so then like it puts a lot of pressure on the judges because it's like, well, I don't want to have to go through all this and screw this guy out of his BR because this guy decides he just wants to be that guy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
wow.
go
So
ahead,
it
go ahead, Kaden.
I mean, that's a lot more than I thought. I mean, can you imagine emailing like video evidence that you thought you won over just one match in a tournament?
right, exactly. Like, so then, of course, and then you get the people that want to just completely moan and groan about it the whole time. Where then part of you, as like, if I'm an organizer and I get someone moaning and groaning about it, part of me wants to be like, then look, if you don't like it, you can leave.
Yep.
Yeah,
But then they could just start a whole thing about that too.
yeah. Some things, man. I've seen some complaints, and like we used to make jokes. It's not bad anymore, but there was a little era in North Carolina where things were kind of rough as far as like talking to staff and the rules and things like that. To where it was like we we thought the WBO or like staff was just gonna be like, man, y'all can't host tournaments for a little while because y'all just got so much controversy and craziness
Yeah.
going on. Because sometimes that does happen. You have people that complain, and I'm not saying that like you can't complain, But it's like I said, it's like taking the joy out of the game, and you're only focusing on you're just so yeah. I'm trying to think of nice words to say, but you're so strict or but you're so anal with the rules that it's like
Right.
you're not enjoying the game. And
Yeah.
with big competition, and don't get me wrong, man, I'm super competitive too. But you also have to understand that you have like brand new kids coming into this, or you have brand new members coming into this, and if they see that like type of environment, people like being extremely nitpicky, it's like kind of toxic. I don't
Right.
Mike, you can probably back me up on this more, like with Yu-Gi-Oh, but I know I play like League of Legends, and I think that's the most toxic community in all of gaming world. Like if you were to Google it now, like most toxic gaming community, League of Legends probably pops up as number one. But I know some,
I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh
yeah,
might have you.
you think Yu-Gi-Oh might be maybe that's just for video games. Yeah, that's why I said you could back me up. Yeah, with the,
You,
like,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yu-Gi-Oh is pretty toxic.
Yeah, and I don't want that to happen like with WBO or Beyblade. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's nearly there yet. Um, I don't think it's going there. But I guess all in all, judging is tough, and I think that's something that maybe needs to be looked at, like revamped. Like, should we be using our phones? Should we be recording in slow mo? Because I feel
I
like that should be something across the board. Go ahead.
this is the thing that I think. I think recording in slow mo is fine. I think the problem boils down to definitions like the spinning definition.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
because
Yeah.
if you recorded in slow mo, but the definition of moving was just any movement that's going in the same direction the Beyblade was launched is still
mhm,
considered moving. When you get to that end and you see the Beyblade still rocking, well, that rocking is a movement, and it's still somewhat turning in the direction that it was spinning in. So that's
yeah,
it. It wins. There's no arguing there anymore.
yeah.
But when
Everybody.
you're like, well, that's rocking, it's not spinning.
Mm.
Like you just take the entire thing away from it because then you're like, okay, well, I have to see when it stopped, air quotes, spinning to see if it's a draw or if something else won.
Yeah, you're talking about like when it does stop, and then it rocks that little bit, and then it
Like like when
before it comes back.
like when you see both of them, like say it's an opposite spin LAD and they're both coming to a stop, but then like right when they stop, the one just kind of falls over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like they both technically stopped, but the one fell over. Well, even though it fell over, technically it's still moving. It's still in a form of movement from when it was launched and still going the same direction. That would be a win to me. That would be a win in the WBO or WBBA.
yeah,
So
yeah.
doing stuff like that would make it a lot more simpler and less of a headache for judges. Because you got to think about it. The people that are taking the time to judge events and organize events, they're the ones with the most headaches from all of this kind of stuff.
It is. You
Yeah.
organize too, right, Kaden?
What happened?
You organize too, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You judge too sometimes, don't you?
Yeah. I do. I do.
Yeah, and it can be a headache, especially with all these LAD drivers now.
It really is. Yeah. And I mean, there's like certain times you don't want to take out the phone because it's like I don't really want to keep reviewing this. I kind of want to just call what I see. Um,
Hmm.
but like you guys said, there's always those people that like really they want to see that review.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's difficult.
And then
It's
of
ex-
course, even if if you decide no, I'm not going to film it, one of them's going to pull out their phone and film it, and then
Oh
argue
yeah.
about it.
mhm.
So you
I
might as well just do it from the start.
My biggest thing. I mean, if there's a standard on that, I would love it. My biggest thing too is I really don't like when people argue with the judges.
Yep.
Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's because like I get onto this. It's like, man, they're volunteering for this. No one is getting paid for this. Your organizer is not getting paid for this. You do not need to come to like the one tournament that we're having this month or whatever that we hosting and putting together, and you're arguing and fighting with us. Like that's I've had to talk to not like a lot of parents, but I know we're in Atlanta. It's happened before, and I get it. Like, I get it. Like, I'm a dad too. I don't want anybody to like cheat my kids or to cheat me, but
Yeah.
it's not a matter of cheating. Like, if your son or your daughter lost, they lost. And
Yep.
that's what it is. You can't just keep going back and forth. Like,
Yeah, this game is actually very different in this form of like TCGs and stuff like that. You can't really cheat in this game. Like you can kind of be that guy and go around and scout people, but in a weird gray area that's not really cheating either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You know, but when it comes down to you just launch this Beyblade into the stadium, there's no such thing as cheating. Like you're
no,
technically allowed to snipe someone as long as you just don't go over their launch radius. And
yeah,
if you go over that launch line, I mean, as the judge normally is supposed to be like, okay, no, you went over, this invisible line here, though you went into their launch zone, you got to redo it.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, like, there's no way to actually cheat a little kid out of a win in this game.
yeah.
yeah,
Well, the one thing I see, the one thing that stressed me out, and I debated about this a little while ago, and it's one of the reasons why I'm happy we have 3v3 now. I used to hate when it would be single bay and someone would come up with like two or three other Beyblades in their pocket
yep,
and wait till they saw their opponents. And it really used to irk me when it was when they do it against like little kids. Like that was probably that would have me like boiling. Just for the fact it's like, man, come on, like they're coming up here
yeah,
blind, like they're brand new. They don't know anything, but like to me that felt like cheating. Well, you're not supposed to do that. You're not. You're supposed to come up. Well, technically, was at that time we're supposed to come up, Beyblades turned around, build your
yeah,
combo, get set, let the judge know, he reviews it, then turn around and show it. But you explain all that, but then little kids there or new players, they're not thinking about that. You call their name out, sometimes they're not listening. And then you're like, hey, so and so, come on up here. And they're like, yeah. And then they'll come waving that Beyblade in the air, which that is
exactly.
not a big deal. If the opponent sees it, it's like, because I tell them to hide it. But if they come up there and they're trying to keep it hidden and then they show you and then you're like, okay. And then you reach into your pocket and you grab the best one and you have like three combos in there. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's happened a lot actually. I've seen that a lot in Florida. I'm not gonna obviously give any names, but
Yeah.
it's happened multiple times, and it's just really frustrating to see because one person's really trying to like go by the rules and be fair, and then the other person's like really looking for your combo, and the second they see a little bit of it, they have like I've seen people that have like one right and one left in their pocket, and it's like
Yeah.
totally, it's just not cool. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
I never like seeing that. And I understand competition. I understand wanting to have like that competitive edge. But I feel like there's a difference between the competitive edge and just like blatant um manipulation, you
yeah,
Yeah.
know? And that's that was just something that had bothered me. But we ain't gotta deal with it no more. At least I ain't gotta deal with it no more. If you want to come up with 18 Beyblades in your pocket so you can do 3G or 3v3, I don't care. Because I feel like if I have my three combos set, I'm pretty solid. Like I'm not,
yeah,
like I'm
Right.
like I'm good on that. Or we
Because
had
the thing is too is with 3v3, it doesn't matter if they pick direct counters to your Beyblades or not because they're not going to pick the right order,
they're
yep,
not.
so it doesn't matter at the end.
There's way too many variables. Like 3v3 to me, 3G, 3v3, 5G, 5v5. It's I feel like it was designed just like deck is for the skill and to eliminate kind of like that I guess the whole thing with the issues that we have with single bay
yeah,
as far as like the cheating or the
Single Bay
manipulation goes.
honestly is the worst format.
yep,
Like I
easily.
know I know there are some people that like it still, but I just think like it was the worst format because you walk up, you don't have any knowledge of what your opponent's gonna play, and next thing you know, you just have a complete bad matchup, and you then just hate the game at that point. You're like, great, I literally can't win this. I
Yeah.
don't know why I'm even playing. I might as well just forfeit this match.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
it's difficult. One with the whole I guess 1v1 or the original preliminaries, that was like almost I wouldn't say total luck because you still have like a good combination ready, but there was a lot more luck factor than there is now. Like the
Yes.
3v3 is really you have to have a lot more skill to play it, I think. So
I have come to terms that pick three, choose one is actually probably the most skill needed
yeah,
It
format
is.
because you have to know all the pieces and then you have to know how like me and Geetzer, when we built our decks for the pick three, choose one that we
Mhm.
had a left and right stamina bay, and then we decided to put an attack bay in there, which
Mhm.
when your opponent looks at it and they see the attack bay, they get too scared to use the same spin direction as that attack bay because it's significantly less effective against it.
yeah,
So then that gave us the knowledge of, okay, well then that means they're probably not choosing that or that. They're probably going to choose that, so I will use this against them.
Mhm.
You
yeah,
know,
Yeah.
and that's the
yeah,
strategy of that format.
yeah. That's a really actually a good way of thinking about it. I didn't think with the whole attack type Beyblade it was like that. That's pretty smart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was how we did it. That's how we came out first and second at that. And then we came out first and second at Mike Nightwing's tournament because our decks are just stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's I think can y'all hear me? Okay?
yeah.
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 Um shoot, what was I about to say?
Ask Craig if he can hear you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Craig is listening. Hopefully he's listening very well. Um yeah, the pick three choose one, it is I think the most skilled. But it's skilled as long as you're going against a knowledgeable opponent.
Right.
If it's pick three choose one and you have someone brand new that's like I'm choosing whatever. Like and then it's like, oh man, my strategy like it did work, but it kind of didn't work because this guy doesn't even know what he's like doing, kind of. So
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
he just grabs whatever and then he goes with it.
The only good
Um,
thing about that is 90% of the time a new player doesn't have a good combo put together.
Exactly.
yeah, most of the time, but I'm seeing a lot of kids with some decent combos now. Like it's
What's actually scary is when they come up with some stock combos like Greatest Raphael, and you're like,
mhm,
that can actually do good either way. Like that
it
combo is
does.
really good stock.
It is.
Yep.
Like it's not the best, but it's decent enough stock to where it can inch out a win against anything just about.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember that used to be a rage. Like you had a chance against anything. So that was
Yeah.
yeah, that was a scary thing.
Yeah, y'all got fire. It's Fire Blaze, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he uses rage. He uses like all Longinus pretty heavy, right?
Oh yeah, he's really good with that stuff. I mean, I don't want to give away his stuff, but
Oh, you don't
yeah,
have to. No, no.
he launches really well with stock Beyblade. So
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, because I know whenever I post it up and then they'll see like, because we have a kid in our hometown, that he's just in love with like Louis. So
Mhm.
he plays like all stock Longinus, and he actually won the last tournament that we had, the WBO ranked event that we had. I think we did 3v3 or no, this was back when it was still like single bay and deck format. And he won and he had a stock guilty, but he had like stock guilty, stock rage. And
Yeah,
I know Blaze had commented on it because he was like, oh yeah, somebody doing up there, like great, this and that. I haven't got the opportunity to play him. I haven't played against you either.
no,
Um
we haven't.
no, we haven't, but I definitely want to play against you. I need to make it down to Florida. Y'all are a lot farther than anywhere that I could just travel to in a day.
Yeah,
Um, but I do need to make it down there. When we're talking about this, hitting up on this Beyblade stuff, what do you think about like the current meta now with this stamina game? Like, are you for it? Are you against it? Like, what do you like? I know you had mentioned that you used to play with Joker pretty heavy, like attack
yeah.
style. Like, do you like that style more?
So
Or what do you think?
yeah, so I mean, obviously when I used to like play around with the Joker, I that was like some of the most fun I had because attack type is just attack is just so almost 50-50. It's really fun. Um but right now I feel like at least here bearing and like drift kind of just rule the game, especially bearing. Um
Hmm.
and I've been playing like not too much, but I got some Metal Fight Beyblades. And we had a few, well, I think two tournaments. They were both like Metal Fight Limited. Um, and it made me realize how much almost like broken the meta is right now, because right now, like, 2 drivers control the whole game.
Yeah.
There's stamina and attack. That's basically it. There's no balance or defense at all.
You said you
Right
realized
now.
that from playing Metal Fight?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I always kind of knew it, but like Metal Fight opened my eyes more to it, because like in Metal Fight, there's almost, I wouldn't say there's too much defense, but like there's more defense um than there is right now, for example.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't play Metal Fight. So like I want you to explain it to me, because I kind of get what you mean, but I don't fully understand.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You good.
So, I mean, I guess Metal Fight, it's more the best way I can explain it is like there's not much LED in the game. Um
Yeah.
there were very few left spin Beyblades. I know El Drago is like a huge one, which I use when I play a little bit. But like the whole concept of the game is just different. There's a part that's really tall. I know it probably won't remind you of much because now there's not anything like it. But it was 230. You know those like hybrid the electric drivers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was kind of like that. It was so tall. Like it was such a good same spin killer.
I think I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I have it.
you
oh,
have
you
it.
do?
I have it. Yeah, I have 230.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you might know more about Metal Fight than me. I'm kind of new, but
I'm brand new to it. I
yeah,
like next month or 2 weeks from now is my first Metal Fight tournament I'm going to.
yeah, it's really fun. But I just feel like the game is just more even. Is your tournament gonna be limited or just Metal Fight?
Limited.
Limited,
Limited.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only played limited, and it's pretty even from what I've seen. There's no like
Ju-
0G Beyblades or anything like that.
Well, you can use the 0G Beyblades, but you can't do the
The double metal, right?
the double metal.
Yeah,
You can't do that.
yeah. So
Synchrom, that's what it's
same
called.
from, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I guess Metal Fight for me at least is more even when it comes to like, you know, ties and you know, videos and things like that.
Yeah, things are a little more clear in Metal Fight. There's not like because you guys think about it, those Beyblades are basically metal contacting on metal.
Yeah,
So like they don't really like get stopped by one another anymore.
exactly.
You know when you get close to the end of the LAD and like a vanish because it's all rubber could just hook onto something and just stop it.
Yeah,
These aren't like that. They're just sliding off of each other. So once one basically stops and the other one's still going, it's still going.
Okay.
yeah.
Like
Yep,
there's no friction to stop it.
that's exactly right. So I mean, that just makes the game better. Especially, I mean, you're right with Vanish. That's a pain for ties.
I've had games where my vanish is like clearly spinning faster and more than my opponent, and then all of a sudden, stop.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
hook's on. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I should have won that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I've seen it. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Another thing with Metal Fight, the height difference does matter a lot.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Like it makes a big difference in the matchups.
Yeah,
Like
you
that's
have
what Geetzer was explaining to me.
you have Beyblades that are like almost touching the ground, and then you have some that are like the other Beyblade only hits like the track or like the
Yeah.
plastic tip on the bottom.
Yep.
How does that give what is better? I guess I'm asking. Or it depends on the matchup.
It
I
depends on the
mean,
matchup.
for me, I guess like the last tournament I played, that 230 part, the tall one, it killed it at that tournament. I didn't win because knowledge kind of came into play at the end, and I didn't have the right parts. But I liked the tall because no one else had it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, I don't think there's something necessarily better. There's a driver that's I think called Bearing Drive, and it's just like Bearing.
Mm-hmm.
I hear it's better than Bearing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's really cool. The only thing I don't love about Metal Fight is I don't know if Crisis Crusher you know anything about it, but it's mid fake.
Yeah, the mid fakes.
Yeah.
I don't really understand that.
So from my understanding about it, all it basically is they're remakes by some company that basically just made the same boxes to Karatomi that the Karatomi had for them.
Yeah.
But the issue with it is they're not really. It's not that they're fake. They're the exact same molds and everything. It's just they're like a slightly worse material.
Gotcha.
So and because Metal Fight bays are so expensive now, basically most WBO tournaments for Metal Fight will allow the mid fakes
Mhm.
because it's really almost impossible to tell. You have to be like super eyesight, like X-ray vision to be able to just look at this and tell it's a mid fake.
Yeah.
So most of the organizers aren't going to care because they want the tournament to happen. Because 90% of the players that come, if they're not like a veteran player but they're a newer player trying to play in Metal Fight, you'd have to turn them all away.
Yeah.
And then there goes your whole tournament. Like, why bother with that? It's one thing if they get the straight up fake Beyblades, because those ones you can tell. Just like
Yeah.
with Burst, you can tell when it's a fake Beyblade. Same thing with Metal Fight. There are ones that you can tell this is a fake. There's
Yeah.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But the mid fakes, you can hardly tell they're a fake. You have to you basically have to be a veteran player that has been playing for a long time to know. Like I think Yami is probably one that would be able to tell. Probably TSO, and I know Bro Yito from up here can probably tell. But those are like the only three people that I know of that could tell, and there's still a big Metal Fight community.
Geezer can't tell?
Nope. He has no clue how to even tell that if it's a mid fake or not.
Okay. All right.
Because they're that close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From my understanding of it, it was just it was the same because when I looked into it, when I first heard about it on the WBO, and I was like, what are these mid fakes? Because the Metal Fight series was my favorite series because of Ryuga.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I wanted the El Dragos. I wanted to get all of them, but I didn't really want to play Metal Fight. I just wanted to collect them. And as a collector, I wanted to have things that were authentic. So then when I learned about the mid fakes, I was like, what is this life about? And as I did more research, because first, like I know there were posts up there and they were like, oh, it's lead and they're just like terrible, horrible, this and that. But as I looked into it, they're the same as like reprints. Like I used to when I was little, I collect baseball cards, and that's what I compared it to. Like you would have an original Mickey Mantle or like an old school baseball card if it came out like in its day, like it's legit. But then later on, you have reprints. So they may
Yeah.
reprint it like today or something like that, and it's not the original. It still looks like the old school one. It doesn't hold as much value because it's not the one that came out originally, but it still like looks like the same card. It pretty
Yeah.
much is the same card, and it's made by the authentic company. And that's what I learned about the mid fakes because as I have bought Metal Fight Beyblades. I do have I know some are mid fakes. I've gotten some that are completely fake from me just trying out different vendors, and then I have some that are completely authentic.
Right.
And I would look at that code that's on the bottom because people used to talk about that, and I think that it's either the last two numbers or some number. It represents the year that it was made. So anything that was like 2010 or whenever the Metal Fight series was going on, that's good. But when you start seeing like 14
Yeah.
and stuff like that, it doesn't mean that they're fake. Those were just like reprints or remakes. Stuff
Right.
from like
It's
yeah.
I think it was like a different company that took the molds and made them, and which is somehow allowed to use like the Karatomi's boxes and stuff like that for them. And
Yeah.
because they were allowed to do it, I'm pretty sure to me that would just say they're legit to use.
Yeah. Like New Boy is one of the companies. They're out of I don't know if it was Saudi Arabia or somewhere, but like you'll see on the back of the packaging, it's
Was it
written in
Korea?
Arabic.
Yeah.
No, so Korea has Sonokong.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
And yeah, Korea has Sonokong. Right now it's only Takara Tomy. I can't remember when Sonokong was allowed to make Beyblades. They might have been able to during the Metal series and the beginning of like Burst series.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure they were around the plastic era, but I can't fully remember. And then because you got, I know new boy is Saudi Arabia is somewhere, but they do have Metal Fight, and they are authentic, but they have a lot of mid fake stuff. It's like what Crisis was saying. It's like people can make them, but I think at this point in time, like if you're getting an authentic Metal Fight Beyblade, that's like one of the good ones. You're spending. I wouldn't want to play with it. I would rather just collect it.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, because they're just you're dishing all that much money out just to go pretty much destroy it. Or I don't know. When I compete. It's like the Beyblades I have. I know it's going to get messed up, and I want to have backups just in case I'm at a tournament and my thing breaks or something. But you can't really do that with Metal Fight. You got what you got.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I remember at the tournament that we played, because I mean now I know about mid fakes. When we needed new parts, because I didn't really understand like what parts I needed, they're cheap too, man. They're like $12, and that's not like the normal. Was that the normal price of Beyblades when they came out, like Metal Fight Beyblades?
I mean, I
Um,
know Metal Fight, like Hasbro had Metal Fight, like they were the same thing.
Yeah.
Except I think they might have been a little more hollowed out, I think, but they were still the same thing. So, I mean, that's probably the right price if you were buying a Hasbro one, but then like if you were buying a Takara Tomy one back then, you were probably still spending like $20 because of shipping. But
Yeah.
it was also probably a lot less. People probably bought a lot less Takara Tomy back then,
Yeah.
probably for the simple fact of the internet wasn't like shipping around wasn't as big then as it is now.
Mm. All right.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember there I also bought like a 4D wheel system. I don't know if you guys know about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, you like flip the layer around and it was cool. Um, but I bought that and then I went online to see like what it was called, and apparently it's a prize Beyblade. It was purple, red, and obviously it was metal. But I saw the same thing in like normal packaging. So does I think Midfake do they like reprint
The
prize
prize
Beyblades
base.
into normal boxes?
I
Probably.
uh, yeah. I don't know.
Because I
I
saw
don't
the
know for
same thing with
sure.
J Jupiter.
Yeah, I see the
J
J
Jupiter.
Jupiter too. But that was a random booster, I believe.
Yeah, it
I think
was.
originally it was a random booster, then once they were doing the remakes, they just gave it its own box.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
I noticed
So,
like one of the most expensive Beyblades in history. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
just Jupiter by itself through all the series.
yeah.
It's like the price is ridiculous.
I think
Um,
it's around like 200 if you're not counting like limited edition releases.
yeah, it's extremely expensive. I know. I'm not as educated on metal. I'm not as educated on anything other than burst.
Mhm.
Um, but I know like it is hard to get those older toys. And like I said, like if you get them, it's like I wouldn't want to play with them. I just see it as more as collector because even like plastics, you kind of can't play with those because they will break because they're so old.
Oh, the plastic gen?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, those are
I noticed
fragile.
the stadium especially,
Yeah,
and like we have some HMS stuff, and whenever we import it, like they send us extras of the launchers because the original launchers that come with it, they were like curled, and like these are super old. Like it's
yeah,
Takara Tomy now. Those companies merged. It used to just be Tomy, and then it was like Takara or something. So when you
yeah,
get like the HMS, it only says Tomy on it. So you're like, man, is this legit? It is, but it's before the companies merged together. But anyways, like the plastic with the rip cords, like they'll just break. Like you use it once and then it'll just snap. So I think they sent other rip cords that like they had to remake for you to be able to even use those Beyblades. So the old school stuff is this is just me speaking, just because I'm also a collector, so I wouldn't play with them, but no shame for anybody that does because they are still a lot of fun.
oh yeah.
If you're able to get that stuff. So uh I know Shindog was talking, and I guess it sounds like it's the same way you're feeling, like looking at the old school Beyblades, because he said Burst is his least favorite since he
Yeah,
started playing backwards.
I heard
Um,
that.
Yeah, and like his meta, because he said the meta, just the meta, I guess from the older ones are better. And when y'all were talking about, you said it's 230, that driver that immediately reminded me of high mode now
Hmm.
that we can use, and just how these concepts have been, I guess, just upgraded into what we have now. Because they said when the Dynamite series came out, it was kind of like a combination of burst and metal fight, and it
Yeah,
kind of is, at least from
in a
what I'm
way, yeah.
hearing. Yeah, but it's all good. So, I guess the consensus is you're as annoyed with the stamina game as some of us are right now with this LAD.
Definitely, yeah. And I don't know. I'm sure you guys have heard of the new bearing drive thing that's coming out.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Not too sure about that thing, but it looks kind
Like
of
I like I said, so when it comes to that driver that's coming out, the bearing drift driver,
yeah,
what will matter the most is the tip, because from looking at the pictures, the tip looks like it's sharper than the regular drift driver.
like a bearing.
But yeah, like bearing. But I'm pretty sure I remember looking at the metal drift picture and thinking the exact same thing, and then it was just a regular drift.
Mm.
So I don't know if they're just promoting the fact that there's a bearing inside of it and that the tip is made out of POM, or if it's they also changed the shape of the tip. Because if they change the shape of the tip, to me it's not even really a drift driver then.
No, definitely not.
So like then to me then it's just a whole new driver. It's not drift. But if it ends up being the same as drift, it just has a bearing in it, I really probably won't care too much about it.
Yeah, I think if that's the case, I don't think it's going to change much. But I think if the tip is like what it really looks like, I think it'll change the game a little bit. Obviously, they'll have to make a standard release, I assume. But I
yeah.
hope it, yeah, I hope it doesn't change the game too much because it
To
looks like it's going to be rare.
yeah, to me, this is more the science talking. Because with drift, the big thing with drift, you have the insane um, LAD. Like you
Yeah.
pretty much will always win those opposite spin matches. Do y'all think it's because of the tip or it's because of the shape of the driver? Like the part above the free spinning tip that gives it that little bit of extra momentum.
Well, I mean, the
Like I have
the
well let
Mobius driver also kind of has that tip to it,
yeah yeah
like
yeah, go ahead.
drift. Yeah.
So Mobius has the drift tip, except it's made out of POM. So that's what I'm saying. Like if it's just the drift tip, which is the same as Mobius, just it's made out of POM, it's the same thing. There's no difference to it.
But
Because
do
we
you
Yeah.
all
think
what was it?
uh,
Go ahead, James.
what were you about to say, Caden?
No, that's all good.
Um But that's why I'm wondering is it the reason why I'm asking this because to me bearing drift looks like bearing's tip and it has the bearing inside but the shape of the driver, the shape of the part that's above the tip
The gold
is
part.
drift. That's
Yeah.
drift.
Right.
And I'm wondering by combining those because I guess this is what I was asking and I don't know if the tip on bearing spins better than the tip on Mobius and drift. I feel like bearing does spin
It
better.
does.
It does.
And to
It
have that with the shape of drift, how much more OP is that? Because drift already like the only reason why it has the better spin is just because of its spin stealing capabilities and that LAD. Overall, bearing is a better driver as far as just the stamina game and just spinning.
Yeah.
so
Um,
so the thing is, bearing is called bearing because it has a metal bearing inside of it.
Yes.
and
yes,
that's and that's the whole point. Like it's not called bearing because of the tip. That's just the tip they gave bearing. So when you're saying bearing drift, is it drift just with a bearing inside of it? Is the question.
yeah, but I don't think it is. I think it has the bearing inside, and the tip is the same as the tip that is on bearing.
Right. And
That's what
that
I think.
And then the shape is just drift shape. So it's the combination of the two. Because I don't think the bearing. I think the bearing on the inside would help it, but the tip on bearing is also very beneficial. Like it's honestly, I feel like it's a little bit better once it gets a little bit worn down.
Yeah, I'd
So,
But
say.
so
yeah,
this is my thing. If you were to pull up the picture of the actual thing,
I'm
you'll
about to right
see
now.
you'll see with the tip. Like I said, it looks like it's sharper, but here's also the thing: you can clearly see where it's not like the regular bearing tip, because the regular bearing tip is one whole tip, while the drift has the bottom part, that circle, and then the actual tip in that circle, and you're only allowed that little bit to be like, if it goes down, you're only allowed that much.
Oh, I see it.
If you look at this tip, you can see that circle is going to be there too.
Yeah, I see that circle. I
Yeah.
see it.
Right. So
This is this is
that's what
tough.
I'm saying. It looks like that little tip part might be sharper than the normal drift. But like I'm saying, I
Yeah,
also remember looking at the metal drift one picture and thinking the exact same thing.
yeah,
And then it wasn't. It was the same. So it might just be just the play on the camera and whatnot and just how it looks. I don't know. I'm gonna have to physically have this part in my hand to look at it and test it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah,
me think too. Oh, go ahead, Kaden.
I'd be pretty disappointed if it was basically a normal drift with a bearing inside, because I don't think that changed much.
Yeah, that would suck.
I would be
Um,
both disappointed and not disappointed, because I'd be disappointed because, I mean, why not have a better drift that's insane in same spin as well as opposite spin? I mean, that'll just be best driver in the game. But I wouldn't be disappointed also because then I know it's not really changing the meta, it's just giving a third drift,
Yeah,
you know? Like
that's true.
we already know like it might be one of those, okay, this is the exact same thing as drift, but when you get to the end of the opposite spin lad, it has a much easier time continuing the spin compared to the regular drift, so it gets a slight edge over if it's going against a mirror match with another drift combo.
yeah,
Mm.
So that might be it. Until then though, it's just, to me, it's just kind of like, it is what it is.
shoot, the way it looks like it just might be a drift, even possibly that's easier to control in same
Right.
spin.
Yeah,
Right.
If
I
it,
mean, and that's also
yeah,
possible. Maybe because of the free spinning being a lot more, maybe the tip will actually stay a little more stationary and not wig out while the rest of the Beyblade is spinning.
yeah, that'll be a little bit. That'll be fun to compete against. It'll be a little bit. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a little bit OP. It would definitely be OP if it's like easy to launch and same spin, and you're winning, and then you could just spin still in opposite.
oh yeah,
It's gonna be a little ridiculous.
Yeah, if I'm able to launch that and it just stays completely in the center, like, I'm gonna test it, and then I'll test it against, high extend plus as well as regular bearing dash
yeah,
or
Hmm.
bearing, and if it just beats them in same spin, then I'm throwing the rest of the drivers into trash can.
yep,
Like, I'll
yeah.
play
That's
pick three, choose one every day and just use that. I don't have to
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
I'll pay single bay and not have to think. I
You gonna
mean,
get it, Caden?
what happened.
Are you getting it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Are you waiting until it comes out, or you getting it early?
I think I mean, those parts are expensive, man. When they come out as that like prototype.
campaign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
are expensive. So I'd probably wait.
Yeah,
yeah,
because like I said, we all know that's gonna be printed into something.
yeah.
Like, I
Like
mean,
Devil.
I think what is it? I think August it's supposed to be a triple booster or something, like
Mm,
kind of like the Spriggan thing. And if it's gonna be that, they could just put it in there,
for sure.
They probably will.
you
That way,
know,
people will get it.
because it's like what they did with Perseus. So
Hmm.
they gave us Perseus relatively fast. I don't see why they want to give us that relatively fast either. They'll
Yeah,
make
Like
like I said.
They'll make the idiots pay high price for it, make some money because it'd be funny for them. Technically, Takara Tomy doesn't make money at all on it because it's just a campaign for them. But they
yeah,
get to watch. They just probably get a kicks out of watching idiots do it. Ha, look at the stupid American that bought it. Ha.
Yeah, there's yeah. I'm looking at it now. I think it's gonna be. I don't know, y'all.
It's too hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't know.
So possibly a triple drift deck.
Mm.
Yeah, which is
That'd
gonna
be
be that will be bad. And I, this is another thing. I
I
know it's
mean,
not like part of the questions, but it's like this is why I kind of wanted to. Well, this is not kinda. I harp on the B183 stadium, and I know within the WBO standard because everyone is used to the standard stadium. But the way that the game is now, and the way that the Takara Tomy is releasing their parts, I feel like that is one of the reasons also for these boring LED matches. We have to
because they
adapt.
perform differently in that stadium, and that is their
Everything
standard
performs differently
stadium.
in that stadium, and it's not as designed to cater to these LED matches.
Well,
It's
Well,
go ahead.
it's like the conversation me and you had the other night when we were talking on the phone. That's a lot of people get upset because they're like, "Oh, attack doesn't work in that stadium." Wrong. Rubber flats don't work in that stadium the way you're used to them.
Hmm.
Use something else. Try these new attack drivers like Venture and stuff like that. That stuff works in that stadium fine.
Hmm.
Destroy works in that stadium fine. When you were hosting your tournaments in that stadium, there were plenty of KOs happening in them.
Yeah,
KOs were a common thing happening in that stadium. You thought it wouldn't happen, but it does.
yeah. You just can't use the traditional stuff. Have you played in the new stadium, Kaden?
the big clear one, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think some of them are clear. I can't remember.
clear white and clear black.
got you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've played a little bit in them.
Right,
Not
but
enough to really tell you like what to use in there, but I mean, I just think they're better for now because things are so big, man. Like the Beyblades are huge, so I feel like no matter how you launch, sometimes they're gonna hit.
Yeah,
So I feel like the bigger stadium's definitely a good option.
yeah, it's just what it is you have to use stuff differently. Like things aren't gonna operate the same way that they do in the standard stadium in that stadium.
Yeah,
So you just have to learn something new. But then everyone is on a new playing field then. You know, Geetzer doesn't know what works in that stadium no more than I know what works in that stadium. So we're both learning at the same time. It just comes to who figures what out first and how long
yeah,
do they practice in it.
yeah. The LED isn't. It still happens. It's gonna happen just because of the drivers that we have. But
for
it's
sure.
not as bad because the slope in there. If you're able to take the center, you usually got it. It's not like
Yeah,
the Beyblades aren't kissing as much because the slope is so
So
um
it's interesting because the slope is so steep, and one can get to the center first. But then because like the way like if the other one's up on that ridge and it's doing that thing where it's sliding down and going around all the way around, like
hmm
dodging the Beyblade going up to the other end. Once it
yeah,
starts getting slower and it comes down, it's gaining momentum going down that slope. So it's
yeah,
going to push the other Beyblade out of the center to
it
try
does.
to get the center as well. So then
Hmm.
it doesn't matter if you took the center first or not.
Yeah. I've seen it. I like it because it's something new. Um, like you said, Mike, and I feel like I don't feel. I know it would be a even playing field for everyone. And more importantly, it's gonna change. It'll definitely change the meta. I think you'll see definitely new combos and a winning combination, like we already do. But it's gonna force everyone to find those hidden parts. Like the issue, like you said, Caden, it's like right now it's just bearing and drift. And don't get
yep.
me wrong, like drift can still work well in there as far as like the spin still. Um,
I want to say
but
high
drift,
stem plus is in there too, though.
yeah, highest end plus is definitely pretty. That is my favorite driver right now. Um, but drift, like when you launch it hard, and like you said, the stadium. I mean, the Beyblades are so much bigger now. You can launch drift hard in that stadium, and it's not like, oh man, yeah, like you don't have to have skill, just do what you want.
Yeah,
But it performs different. Like it performs like an attack style Beyblade.
in the big clear one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
drift is weird in that one. I mean, again, I told you guys I didn't use it too much, but the only thing I remember because when I got it, I just threw in some combos I already had made. Drift, like it'll go around and then it'll stall and then it'll
It
go
will.
around and it'll stall, and it does the same thing like 5 times before it like comes in and crashes to the middle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It'll ride that ridge and destroy dash works differently. You can really use like stationary attacks, like if you throw bearing on like on like guilty in there,
Yeah.
it'll work really well. I was using that, but I ended up self bursting or bursting myself because I launched a little bit too hard. But the KOs are good. You don't have to worry about a back wall bouncing because if it hits that back wall, it's going down.
Yeah.
Just because of the way the slope is.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about recording that. If your Beyblade is still in the stadium and you think it like hit the back wall of the pocket, I guarantee you it didn't. Because if it hits the back wall or the pocket in that stadium, it's falling out. But I think it's just and it's just change and it's just human nature. Like nobody's
People
adapted
scared
to
of
change.
change.
Yeah. People scared of change. Prices, did you wanna I think you had one more question.
Yeah, I did. The last question for you, Raymond, was going forward, what are like some personal goals you want to achieve with Beyblade?
So I think everyone's goal obviously is to become number 1 on the WBO, and obviously that's a goal for me. I mean, I don't see it happening anytime soon because when you get higher in the rankings, tournaments become like a lot more difficult because you have like a target on your back. Everyone's trying to beat you, and when they do, you lose tons of points.
Yeah.
But when you win, you only win like 2 or 3 points out of one match.
Yeah.
I've actually won tournaments and lost points, which is crazy.
Yeah, Geetster complains about it all the time.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely a big thing, but
And
I don't know.
I just hit 25th, so I'm gonna get up to that threshold soon too.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I don't know. I really like meeting new people though, so I want to keep doing that. I like traveling to tournaments. Like Virginia was amazing. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's just multiple things I'd like to do while playing Beyblade. Like again, meeting new people. Um, Climbing the ranks is obviously a big one, but it's just really hard to do now. So I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty happy top 25 on the WBO, but
Would you be for like a ranking reset?
so I heard about that like months ago. Maybe I think it was around December I heard about that. Um, and honestly, I was all for it because right now, um, I don't want to be that person, but K is at the top, and he's like, I don't know how many points ahead he is, but he has like crazy BR compared to like I think it's the second person or the third or something like that. And I think a ranking reset would like make the whole thing more fair because the new people that joined, they don't have a chance at climbing the ranks to number 1 anymore. But when it all started, everyone had a chance. So I'd be pretty for a ranking reset.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I'm looking right now. He's at 1842. Second place is at 1776.
Yeah.
Third place is at 1756. So second and third, if they only like play each other or like if they go to tournaments and they like Kai bombs it and like they're able to beat them, they have a chance. But that's still like 2 or 3, possibly 4 tournaments before that is even a possibility.
Yeah. I mean, the guys in Canada, honestly, they have it. Obviously, they don't have it easy or anything, but they have it better than people like starting in Virginia or North Carolina or here. I mean, they just have it easier because if a kid starts over there and somehow he gets lucky, obviously that's harder to do now with the whole 3v3, but if he got lucky and beat K, he would gain tons of points. I think there's one kid, he's like top 8. He's played like I think 10 battles or something like that.
Yep. He's on the West Coast. I think he's was it King Lufa?
Was it? I don't. He's been to a
Wait,
few King Lufa.
oh, never mind. I don't know who I might not know who you're talking about. You said they only lost 10 Battle Blade?
No, they've only like played a total of 10 battles.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like Beast, I don't know, some Blader Beast or I don't know, something like that. But I mean, it's just so crazy how depending who you play, you can get so much BR by just beating someone that has a ton of BR. So yeah.
So that's like when we were first getting into Beyblade, me and a couple of my friends, and we knew Geetster through Yu-Gi-Oh, so he was kind of helping us along with the competitive stuff.
Yeah.
Tempest Dragon had just came out. Now, my buddy Alan had came over and he had made the Tempest combo before like anyone else was ever really using it. Like I knew of the combo from some of the Japanese YouTubers that I had watched at the time,
Mhm.
but I didn't really focus too much on it. He had made it and we realized it was just beating what we knew was the best combo at the time, which was Master Diabolo's Wheel Extend Plus.
Yeah.
So then he put on Tempest, and Tempest was in opposite spin, just demolishing it.
Yeah.
We didn't really test it out too much. The next tournament we had was Geetster's tournament. Alan used that Beyblade through the entire tournament, not even switching in the top cut. But because he was the only person using it, he went completely undefeated. So which meant he beat Baymaster, Yami, TSO, Geetster. He beat all of these people. So after that one tournament, he shot up like almost 200 points.
Yeah.
And it was wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that multiplier was a big thing. Like, and the thing is too, that was with I think Geezer had hosted a 24-person tournament and then only like 19 people showed up. Now, if it was one of the 32 that I host and, 30 people show up, it would have been even more.
Mm-hmm.
Because that multiplier gets in there.
Yeah.
So like, it really mattered. Like I've had to climb up. Like I've never played TSO. I think I've played Yami once. I've never played Baymaster. And then I played Geetster a bunch of times, and that's how I've climbed up. Like when playing those guys, but I also climb up because I don't really lose to the little kids too often.
Yeah.
But it's just like I look at him and I'm like, man, you just got in there by a couple lucky tournaments. Because then there was another tournament he played TSO and Yami and them again and beat him again. He just didn't end up getting first. He ended up getting third place, I think. But it was still like his couple losses didn't really hurt him as bad compared to the wins he got.
Yeah.
So
all depending on who you beat.
Yep.
Yeah. How is y'all scene down there? Like, I guess this isn't the question that I had written, but I know the Maryland scene. Like, I played in all regions. I don't play in yours as much, but I play in DC, play in North Carolina. I went down to summer games. Is Union Achilles the only one that's like close to you, as far as like Babe rank and
a little
who else
thing
is down
about
there?
Union. So he was close to me for a while. We've always kind of been neck and neck since the first time I've met him. So I don't know if you guys know, but he actually quit a few months ago.
You know what? Your dad
Do I
just
know
told
why?
me this. And no. I said, you know what? Your dad just told me this.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah. It's all
But
good. Is anybody down there close to you though?
So
I mean,
is there a reason why he quit?
we don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, I was honestly pretty skeptical about it because I didn't really know, like, he could just be saying that. But then I talked to SSJR and apparently Union was trying to like sell his collection to him. So I guess he's gone for good. I don't know why he quit.
How old is he?
I think he's maybe a year older than me.
Okay, so it's like the conversation we had with Shindog last time. Sometimes people start growing out of stuff, and then next thing you know, they're 30 years old and they're back in.
Yeah, that happens. But yeah, I guess like no one knows why he quit. But he was the closest one to me by far. I don't know. I don't check BR too much, but I think the second one in Florida now is, I think it's Fire King Ard,
Okay.
um, and then Fire Blaze, and then maybe you guys know who Cosmo Dragon is?
No.
I saw him at yeah, I saw him at I think I remember who he is.
Yeah,
I think
Cosmo
so.
and then SSJR. So we kind of have our top five now, but it was weird seeing him leave because when you're ranked highly, it's kind of hard to just give that up.
Yeah. Yeah. I know like we had a kid here well he's a grown man now. When I first started competing, he was the Beyblade kid. And
Yeah,
yeah, have you ever played him? But you know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about. I don't know if I've played him, but I know who you're talking about.
He pretty much was like the best blader in our area when I started. Um
Really?
and yeah, he was number one. He was winning like every single tournament. And um this is even before like I got into the competitive scene like that. Like I was trying to get into it. And then he stopped playing. I know a part of it is I think he grew out of it a little bit. I think he also got a little bit bored because
Yeah,
when the competition, it does depend on the community. And if you only have, because it's only been recently that like adults and dads and moms and stuff like that are heavily playing. I
yeah.
think even during the metal fight area, because I talked to another veteran from here, Dark Mousy, because he played um, with the metal fight era, and I talked to him like about adults playing and stuff like that, and he was like, it wasn't as common. It would just be going against kids, and when I went to our first tournament, it was only kids. It was like Builder Rob, who he's a little bit older, and then you had the Beyblade kid, and then Kamek, who's Kamek's was he's in his 20s, but he's like 21, and the Beyblade kid was like 19.
Hmm.
But other than that, everybody was like, I would say 13 and
Yeah,
under. Um, but yeah, he stopped because I think he said he got he just got he wanted I don't know if he got bored with Beyblade or bored with the competition. I'm not sure. I wish he had still played because I really wanted him to like play against Frost, and I wanted to play against him. You know, I never played in a competition against him. Um, but yeah, sometimes stuff like that happens. It's sad, but it does. But I know y'all's community is still like big. You know, like y'all
yeah,
still have. I think between y'all, us, like the top communities are y'all, us, Maryland for sure, Toronto, and then like
yeah,
Cali.
yeah,
You know, those are really like the only big communities you see on the WBO. But as far as the posting, the most of the posting I think goes to y'all and Maryland, and then
I'd say.
I don't
yeah.
want to talk about some of the posting that I get involved in.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about tournament posting, not the arguments.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I get into the regular posting too with stuff. I get into so many debates with people.
yeah, but
Maybe I'm the problem.
nah, I don't think so. But Caden, with the like, are you still hosting pretty regularly, or
I mean,
are you planning to?
I haven't hosted in a maybe a few months, but I talked to my dad, and we definitely want to host one in the next few weeks. I want to say,
Okay.
because I mean, it's just better to get things rolling again. Because we kind of got things rolling with metal. We do have a few upcoming tournaments here. Nothing from Beyblade Premiere, but um, yeah, we want to do something soon. Just nothing yet, though.
Okay. Yeah, I know I had talked to him a while ago. I don't know if summer games. I mean, it was supposed to be happening, but I mean that's on and with y'all. But I do I've always admired like your skills, admired you with playing Beyblade. Um, I know like Crisis has said, and like we said, like everybody, grows up and then interests change.
Yeah,
I hope you continue to always like be spending these tops, but if not, then yeah, I 100% fully understand. Like regardless, I hope um like we can still stay in contact, and I still talk to your dad. He's a solid dude. Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah. I
man,
appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And I don't know if I've told you personally, but I've said it on podcasts and stuff like that. You're the blader that or you're definitely one of the bladers I respect the most. And you're the only one that I said would make me nervous because I've seen you do things with Beyblades that I haven't seen other people do. Um, and as I was talking, like sometimes, a lot of times I talk to myself, but then I also talk about your dad. When I saw Parker Paul do the same spin drift, I didn't remember, or I did it. It didn't recollect to me when I was talking about it. But you were doing that in Virginia, and
Mm,
for everyone that's listening, I met Caden, and so did Mike. Like actually, that was the first time any of us saw each other. Was at that
yeah.
Virginia tournament,
Oh,
Battle in VA or Showdown in VA, and
did
that's when I
Aiden,
go
did
ahead.
we play each other at that event? I can't remember.
I think we did. I think so.
I I don't I think we did. I just don't 100% remember.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have to go back to the whole tournament. I just don't. Yeah, like you said, I don't really remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that was man. I love that tournament. I kind of screwed myself because I did
It
the
ruined
first
tournaments
battle.
for you.
What happened?
It
now
ruined
what?
tournaments for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
What? Oh, you said you screwed yourself because of what? I didn't hear.
I used Tempest in like the first battle, and then
Hmm.
everyone went with a counter against Tempest. So I kind of messed up on that one. So I had to like use things to counter the counter. Um,
Uh,
that was a great tournament though.
yeah. I had fun. I felt bad. That was probably the most nerve-wracking tournament I've ever hosted. For one, it was like my second WBO tournament. Like my first one was in my hometown. The only person
Yeah,
that like showed up from the WBO was Frost, and everyone else I want to say was new or like fairly new. LJ Blader, I think LJ Blader came. I can't remember. Um, yeah, I think LJ Blader was there, but then everybody else was new. And then I host my second WBO tournament. TSO signs up, Yami signs up, Geester signs up, and who else? Sniper signs up. And
yep.
Crisis, at the time, I didn't know you were friends with them. When you told me you were bringing your gang down, I thought it was just some regular people. You know what I'm saying? Not saying they're not regular people, but I
Yeah,
didn't know
no, I
anyone
got
that
you.
was in the top rank of the WBO. You know, and then they all signed up, and I was like, okay, man, I got to make sure I'm on my P's and Q's. And then you signed up, Caden, and I was like, oh
Yeah,
my god, you know.
yeah.
Everybody was like, I need to make sure I host this tournament well. And it's like, man, this is my second WBO tournament. Like I was nervous. And then when TSO and Yami dropped out, like I felt sick, you know, because Caden, he came up from Florida up to Virginia. And I was
Yeah.
like, man, I gotta make sure the tournament's like legit. And I knew you were coming, Mike, but I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know you were friends with Sniper and Geester and all them. And
Yep.
so like that morning, like I don't think I threw up, but I was probably close to it because I was like, man, I want this to be a good turnout, and because I didn't want Kate to be disappointed, you know, I
It
didn't
was
want
well.
anybody to disappoint it. I didn't want you to come there and nobody show up, Mike, and but thankfully it turned out really well. Frost was coming too from North Carolina, and I was like,
Yep.
oh, dang, you
Yeah,
know,
Yeah.
it was a good tournament.
when was that? I'm in the old tournaments right now. I can't.
That was a while ago.
I think that was like in the summer, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I don't know. I might not be able to find it. But yeah, we want to hit you up and we want to talk to you. Like I said, man, I've always respected you as a blader, especially like after I met you. And then I had a lot of fun at summer games. I don't know if I'll be able to make it this year just because I'm focused on the circuit and it costs like we spend a lot of money traveling with the six of
Yeah.
us.
Is
But if
he
what
hosting us summer games again?
Um.
Because I heard he dropped off the face of the earth. So like,
Yeah. I'm not totally sure. I think he'll come back, but I mean, I'll try and get in contact with him, but
I
I don't
mean,
know.
James, just start inviting people to Dark Continent. Screw it. Just be like, hey, come to Dark Continent.
well
Don't
Yeah.
have a cap on it.
yeah, we worked it out because like he hit me up and he told me he was gonna because I asked him last year because I've been planning Dark Continent for a while. I asked him last year because honestly, It wasn't called Dark Continent, but I have been planning an annual event for like the past couple of years. And then but last year the reason why it didn't happen was because I had talked with Frost and Conch to do an annual event, and Summer Games was already in the works. So I didn't want to step on that. So we just gave Summer Games
The
like
space.
that'll yeah, like that like man, do your thing and we'll all come and we'll show support and show love. But
Right.
this year I wanted to do something for North Carolina. I wanted to have something like close to here, and I wanted to host like a 4 gaming event. So I hit him up last August or so, and then I asked him about it, and yeah, he told me that he planned on doing it. That's why we're doing it in July instead of June, because I wanted to respect his event, and but yeah, I am hosting. I did invite him when I was talking about it, and I talked to your dad so much, man. I don't know if he tells you everything, but I did invite y'all to come if you're able to. It's going to be in July 23rd and 24th. It's going to be a 2-day event. It
That'd be
will be
awesome.
yeah, it's going to be WBO ranked. Depending how things work out, like I may switch the circuit to FGC. I don't know for sure, um, but yeah, that's the plan. I'm looking. Y'all did play, and Kaden won.
What was the
Yep.
score?
I don't know. You
I don't,
gained 5 points. He lost 4.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I don't know what the score was. It just shows the winners, and
Yeah.
it just shows the matches.
yeah,
It must.
I don't think they showed the points on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It must have been pretty even though, because those. I mean, that tournament there were no like blowouts necessarily.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. There was a lot of people that could play. Fra Pasta was there too. Shoot, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yeah, pasta.
Yeah, that's the first time I met him as well. But yeah, Caden, do you have any you got any questions for us?
I wanted to ask you guys I know we were talking about like the whole wobble or spin thing. Um, what do you like prefer rules wise? I'm not talking like the format like 5G or anything like that, but rules wise like the WBO or the WBBA.
Overall?
Yeah,
Um
because I know they
you
do like uh I don't know how to explain it. Like they do more the wobble counts, I believe. I know the back wall. If it hits and comes back, it counts. Stuff
yeah.
like that.
Let's do this. Mike, you want me to say 3, 2, 1 and then we just say ours answers?
I mean, that's fine.
All right, 3, 2, 1
WBBA.
WBBA. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just honestly like the way WBBA is structured. It's just they make the toys. So
Yeah,
the toys fit their rules. They're making the toys to fit the rules to fit the toys.
yeah,
So it just makes sense. Like the whole reality of it is the base rules of the game, what spinning is, what KOs are, what bursts are, the points that they're worth, all that kind of stuff. I feel like we should take that from WBBA and
Yeah.
just copy paste it. But
Mhm.
then if we don't want to play their 5G format, we don't have to. Just keep the base rules of the game exactly the same in both regions.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know? Like, we don't have to play 5G. We can do our 3-on-3 and then our WBO deck format, but I guess to be fair, WBO deck format then wouldn't really work for it because you really wouldn't want to be able to switch rotations in that because that'd be a little overpowered. So
Yeah.
you'd still have to make some adjustments somewhere, but if you're making adjustments based on only the single format, I feel like that's okay.
Mhm.
Like, but don't take any of the Swiss stuff away. Like, first off, get rid of single bay. I don't think you need single bay. Honestly, probably get rid of pick three, choose one, two at that point if you kept the rules just the same as WBBA's. Either choose 3-on-3 or 5v5. That would just
Yeah.
make the most sense. First to 3 points wins.
Yeah.
Like, if you do a 5v5, chances are you're not doing a shuffle.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about, going through a shuffle and taking time to do that. And if you do 3v3, sure, you get one shuffle in generally, and then that's it. I mean, what more do you need? Mike Nightwing does basically 5G. The only things he has switched is after 3 draws, both players get a point, and he has a variant driver rule in effect for his, which personally I like, especially in his format, only for the simple fact of you have to be more creative with your Beyblades. Because now you're not seeing 2 drifts and 2 bearings and then a high extend plus every
Yeah.
round. You're seeing a bearing, a drift, a high extend plus. Then, like me, you have a venture and a never. Like, when else are you going to see those tips used if you can allow multiple drivers? You're not going to see them. You're just not.
Mhm.
I
think I like the WBO's formats. I really do. Like, I complain about single bay when it was out, and like I complained earlier because my biggest complaint necessarily wasn't the luck. With single bay, it was the way that people were manipulating it and hiding bays in their pocket, and I wanted to
Yeah.
get rid of that. That was my bigger complaint with it. Because sometimes I like going in a tournament with one Beyblade that I have practiced with like hardcore, and I'm like, you know what? It's because not saying like it just feels all like the anime. But it is kind of fun. You have one Beyblade that you work really, really hard with, and then it actually, like, you see the results. No matter what somebody else brings out, you have something that can beat them. So I enjoy stuff like that. I respect pick 3, choose 1. I will admit though, my favorite is 3v3. It just is. And that's probably because it's the format that I do the best with. And I feel like deck is the most strategical format.
For sure.
Yeah, it's way more.
uh,
Um,
I, I don't know
what
if
would
it's
you about to
more.
say? Pick 3, choose 1 is probably more.
It might be a little more strategical, I think, than deck.
But
Uh,
I feel like when you this is why, because I had thought about this before. When you play deck, when you start, that is pick 3, choose 1.
right.
That is
How
exactly what you're doing, and then you're changing later. The ability to change later. You're continuing to do pick 3, choose 1, but you're not in a guessing
you
game.
are, but then you got to think about this. In that scenario, you have 2 other Beyblades you can fall back on if you choose wrong at the start.
Yeah,
Pick 3, choose 1, you can't.
yeah.
So you have to have the skill and knowledge of what is the best option I can pick against this.
But also sometimes that first point
Oh,
wins the
that
match
that
in
Yeah.
first
deck.
point in deck format can win the match. I've
Yeah,
done it.
yeah. That first point because it just sets you up. But I do like those formats. I do agree with Mike though, as far as the base rules, only because like it goes into my thing. Like, if you spend your money for these Beyblades and they have really cool gimmicks, like going in the high and low mode, if you know what you're doing, it really shows the skill of the blader. But sometimes when you get stuck, be able to only do that once, it kind of sucks. I also like, I've seen this in like our tournaments or when I play with my kid. I like when I'm playing with a Longinus or we're doing 2 attack style Beyblades that hits the back wall and then it comes back in and bursts the other one, or it comes
Yeah.
back in and knocks the other one out completely. And it's like that's an amazing victory to me. I know people might get upset with it and be like, oh, but it's like, I mean, it's part of the game. But yeah, it's not like it's like anti WBO. Like, of course not. I love the WBO. I mean, it's what we have. Um, but I do admire the WBBA, and the biggest thing, it's like what Mike said. They make the toys, so they make the rules and
Yep.
for the products that they play with. That's goes back to the B183 stadium, the new DB stadium. They're making these toys for that stadium, and the whole thing with the rubber drivers, yeah, they don't work as well in that stadium. But then you look at all the releases, there's not been a single release, and as far as the DB goes, that had a rubber flat driver because they weren't for that stadium. Um,
I
but
mean
yeah,
there's been a couple. There's been 2 rubber flat releases, but they
did
weren't
they come
like
with the
they're not.
DBs?
They're well, they came within the random booster. I mean, technically, it didn't come with a DB bay. It came
And
with
then
the
Astro.
one thing, and then in the Astral set.
Yeah.
But they have not been released in like a core booster as part of the new Beyblade.
Yep.
That's what you can argue on that.
Mm-hmm.
Now as far as like all that, like the document I sent you earlier, James,
Mm-hmm.
all it is stuff that like I literally took the WBBA rules, or not WBBA, WBA rules, and reworded certain things in it, and that's what you'll read. Like I changed the spin, the words for spinning. I changed some wordings for KO, and as well as I put in a diagram of what the play area would be considered. So that way then, you can't like misdetermine it or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then I have in there rules about mode changing and about spin direction, where basically I say spin direction is allowed in this format, which is 3v3. It's not allowed in single bay, pick three, choose one, or WBO deck.
Mm-hmm.
So that way then, like, because in those formats it would be overpowered, but in 3v3 it's not overpowered at all.
Nothing's really overpowered in 3v3.
Right, and that's
or 5v5.
And that's disassemble mode changing. The thing that I changed, it doesn't matter what format it is. You can do it as many times as you want, because in reality, like the blader is a big factor in stuff too. Like the Beyblade itself, sure, I can practice with something all day and know, okay, in high mode this Beyblade beats this Beyblade, but then I go against someone that's using the exact combo I tested against, but they launch it a different way to where it just destabilizes me and knocks me out or whatever. And well, why didn't I win? I went into high mode like I'm supposed to, because it's the blader factor. The blader factor makes a difference.
Yeah, that's why Kata makes me nervous. 100%. But can I shoot that question back at you, or I guess ask you like if there were any changes or something that you would like as far as the game goes, like to make you enjoy it more? If you could enjoy it more, Kaden?
I mean, it's hard to say. Mode changes, I guess. I mean, mode changes right now are what? You can change it twice.
A disassemble mode change you can only change once.
But the driver
you can do as many times as you want, as long as it's not like a disassemble mode change. Granted, like me and TSO had a conversation at one of the tournaments when Quattro came out, because the way Quattro is, like, some people can get their fingers in there to change it, some people can't.
Yeah.
If you have to disassemble it to switch just the tip to Quattro, we're not going to count that as a disassemble, because that tip was obviously made to be able to change without disassembling it. Some people just have big fat fingers and they can't do it. Like me, I can't get my fingers in there to do it, especially in a low mode DB bay. That ain't happening ever.
I forgot about Quattro, but I definitely have lost to that. It's like those weird drivers that you don't prepare for or don't think about, and you're like, yeah, I got this, and then it like beats you.
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
Those drivers like that, Extend Plus, what is it? Trans, is that one? I think Trans is one. Zeta, like all those drivers, you can change the tip as many times as you want between like rounds and battles and all that. That doesn't matter. But it's disassemble mode changes. Like if you want to go into high or low mode, if you want to change your chassis to free spin or not free spin, if you want to change the plus S the S gear on Nexus to free spin or state, what is that? Staying still, whatever that would be. Stationary. Locked, yeah. That stuff you can only do once. So then, like, if for some reason you wanted to change your Nexus Plus S to stationary, if you took it apart to do that, and then next you want, like, later after another battle, you're like, oh wait, I should change this also to high mode. You can't. You disassembled it. Well, that just sucks.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, other than like mode changes, which I think the rule on that is pretty fair. I don't know. There's not much that would make the game like a lot better besides I guess, incorporating more WBBA rules, like the whole wobble versus free spin. I wish that was more clear. Um, I don't think adding or taking away anything, because I know the one rule I hated the most was the 2 point knockout. That thing killed me. Um,
Oh man, I love that rule, Caden.
yeah, a lot of people liked it, but I mean, for the way
Yeah,
I played, that thing killed me. So
yeah.
yeah, a lot of people like that though.
I loved it because it gave like I guess it gave like the underdog a chance, and it
Yeah, yeah,
also
for sure.
it helped as far as from the organizer standpoint. It made the tournaments run so much faster because
Yeah,
it's like okay, I'm down 2-0, or in finals I'm down 3-0, and like let me just pull out this attack. Let me get this sway or rage or guilty now, and let me try to just try,
yeah.
and you end up getting him back.
I mean,
Yeah,
it definitely made the game more exciting, to say the least. But I mean, I also don't feel like it should be valued the same as a burst, because a burst,
yeah,
man, nowadays you don't see it anymore at
you don't.
all. Like the new metal or metal drivers and the new dash drivers, like they're impossible to burst. So
Yeah,
yeah, I guess it does make the game definitely more exciting, to say.
it does. I guess the only other thing I would add, this is probably my biggest thing. I want more. The thing that will make it more exciting to me is more people playing. I
Yeah,
think that will forever be my answer. Now, that's beyond the rules, beyond WBA, BBA, beyond WBO. I want to, like, with this, with having tournaments, even promoting the store. Um, oh, shout out Crisis Crusher. I Y'all, I'm such a bad friend. It's like my best Beyblade friend. And I did not know he had a YouTube channel. Until like last night, literally. I'm gonna put it in the description at the bottom of this. Definitely go sign up. And do you have a YouTube channel, Kaden?
you see, I took down the videos because they weren't very accurate. So no, I'll go with no for that one.
Okay. If you do get one, I'll definitely add your info too. But yeah, this I want Beyblade to I want it to grow. I don't think it's gonna, or I don't know. I don't know if it'll get as big as like what Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, because those are huge, and
Yeah.
Magic also. But I want it to be like what we were talking about in the last podcast. Like, I don't want to be the only other host. Like, it's just me and Frost here,
Hmm.
that are just hosting tournaments, and we're on the opposite ends of the state. I want to be able to hop on the WBO, and some kid is having a tournament, like, or some kid or adult is having a tournament, maybe like 10 minutes for me, and that's common to see, to the point that's like, do I feel like I want to get to the point where it's like, man, I don't really feel like going to a tournament this weekend. I've been going
Yeah.
to a tournament for the past couple of months, and I haven't had to drive um an hour to get to them. Like let me relax. And once that I don't host, that's what I want. I want to get to the point that I feel like I need to take a little minor break from Beyblade, because tournaments are just so common and so close. But um,
Yeah. You almost want it to be like a trend, and then people like stick with it
yeah,
to get multiple people in there. It's hard, to say the least, to get people into it and informed about tournaments. There's not a lot of uh advertisement out there to start going to WBO tournaments.
yeah, and that's what. Man, I'm glad that you brought that up. I plan on talking, and this is like some behind the scenes, but I do want to talk because me and Crisis Crusher were talking today. Um, because he works really well with the rules, and like it would be beautiful, like if he could get on staff, or if you can get on staff. I'm talking about you like you ain't here, bro. Um,
I'm not here.
but I look at the marketing. I'm not saying marketing in a business aspect, but just like promoting the WBO, because you'll be surprised, man. You'll be surprised how many people just don't know about it that love Beyblade. I was surprised. Like I'll meet people, like people will ask me questions and this and that, and then I show them I have there's a tournament coming up, and they're like sign up, and like you can go to the WBO website, this and that. I'm like, what's that? And they've been playing with Beyblades for like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's it is a lack of knowledge out there. I had brought it up on when I put that thing up about organizers. I had recently made a post like, why aren't people hosting? And that was just, it wasn't like a rude post. I just wanted to get a consensus to see what the organization could do, or even I could do. Like if it was a money issue or pricing, like I could
Yeah.
help with that. But there were some people on the post that was like, I didn't know that I could even be an organizer, or I don't like, how do I become one? You know? And I was like, man, and they're active on the site. You know, it's not like it was their first day. They just
Yeah.
didn't know about it. And I'm like, they didn't. It was interesting and unique for me to see. I know we're coming up on time here, and I apologize. My phone's about to die. But did y'all have anything else?
Not for me. I think
No,
I'm.
I think I'm
You
good.
good? You good? Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Caden. It's always a pleasure. Uh, thank you, Crisis,
No
for
problem.
coming up here and helping me out with this all the time. Thank you, Beyblade community. Thank you for everybody that's listening. Once again, I will forever say this. The same note that we finished on. Take it forward and try to spread to your local community. Don't be worried about hosting tournaments. We can all host them. Even if you're not promoting on the WBO, just try to get out there, play with a couple of friends. Like you heard Caden, he started with his friends in school, and then they built something amazing and built something great. Go forth, share the word, and take care.